Hi everybody, it's me, doing something a little different this time, doing a map review. Uh, I will just say I'm biased towards this map. It was made by a friend of mine, so here we go. I'm gonna look at the map first. Very nice looking, I like the design on this one. Yeah, it's Deseret, but instead it's if the Mormons went to Sonora instead of Utah. Uh, Sonora is a part of Mexico, if you didn't know that. I like the little honeybees up here. Deseret means something like something related to honeybees. I forget what exactly. You could look it up. I'm not gonna do that for you. And it's also got the Deseret alphabet over here. I think he might have made this coat of arms. I don't know. He does that too alongside maps, but that could just actually be like a legitimate coat of arms for Deseret. I don't know. I like how he has all this stuff over here in the Deseret alphabet, which is basically just the English alphabet, if I remember correctly. Government, theodemocracy, population of 1.1 million. Capital is Vermilion City, which is right down here, and you can see the sea. It has a different name. It's the Vermilion Sea in this one. Zoom in here. There's Vermilion City, right there. He also has all the names of these cities in the Latin alphabet and in the Deseret alphabet. Different cities here, I don't think most of these exist. Yuma does. Bountiful. I think that's Tijuana in real life. This is a real city. I forget what it's actually called, but it's Haggoth's Point in this. You might also notice they own Fiji and Samoa in this. Pretty interesting. He also has the railroads marked, and he has, it's kind of like a topographic, I guess you would call it, map or thing. Fuck, I don't know what you call it. It's a topographic map of Sonora, but when you look at the other countries, like that it borders, like Mexico, New Mexico, Arizona, and California, they're just like this plain, like tannish, grayish color. Looks very nice. I like how this looks. Oh, and it also has the state names, or I don't know if you'd call them states, I guess. But it has the administrative divisions in a different font and size. Actually, I guess maybe that's the same font. They look slightly. Oh, actually, it's just inverted. It's got white with a this grayish black kind of background. Ash, I guess maybe you would call it. And then on the cities, it's got the opposite. It's got the gray on the white. Very nice, very nice. Also has the little sea routes here. Never sure what those are for on maps. You see them on other maps. Are they ferries? Are what? I mean, ships can kind of go anywhere on the ocean, can't they? This one even goes through this little island here. I don't know what that means necessarily. Got Nauvoo down here, named after the city in Illinois uh, that Joseph Smith was killed in. Yeah, very very nice, very nice map. I like how this looks. It's one of his best in my opinion. There's another one I really like that I might be doing, but this one looks really nice, and I like it a lot. Currency, Deseret dollar. State church, Latter-day Saints, of course. It is Deseret. Official language, English. And then in parentheses, DSR. I presume that means Deseret alphabet, maybe. Or just Deseret. I don't know. Here's his posts these on Reddit. You can see his name right there. Real cool guy. Got a nice little little thing going on here. Pretty popular. Pretty popular map. 98% upvoted. People really like it. 35 comments. 601 upvotes. Can you upvote on Reddit if you don't? I don't have an account, so I'm not gonna be upvoting that. Founding. This is quite a long one, but I hope it's worth the read. It is. Founding, the martyrdom of Joseph Smith, the prophet of the Latter-day Saints, prompted the church to seek a new home far from Illinois. In 1846, under the leadership of Brigham Young, preparations were made to conduct a great exodus to Salt Lake in what was then Mexican territory. With the outbreak of the American-Mexican War, however, it became clear that Alto California would soon be under U.S. control. A solution came suddenly with the request of the federal government for the Nauvoo Legion's assistance in the war. I'm pretty sure they were fucking useless in real life. Brigham Young conceived a daring scheme to send the Nauvoo Legion to Sonora in Baja California as requested by the military command, while the Saints pioneers would follow behind. With Mexico torn by war and seceding Texan and Yucatan republics, the barely populated northwestern territories were an easy target. Moving southwards, the Saints faced little resistance as they fulfilled their obligations to the U.S. government, and then established their settlements by the coast of the Vermilion Sea. Fairly sure it's called something different in real life. I don't want to say it's like the Sea of Sonora, but it's some shit like that. Faced with the threats of the Mexican military and Apache war bands, Brigham Young offered to have much of New Mexico and Saints-occupied territories be annexed by the United States to the state of Deseret. But the federal government, busy working on a peace treaty and bothered by the Saints' policies, offered only the status of a territory. Rather than accept the strict limitations of a territorial government, Brigham Young chose to declare the unrecognized nation of Deseret within the Saints-controlled territories and proceeded with efforts to convert the local population. The Saints achieved unexpected success with the native tribes due to their recognition of them as the lost tribes of Israel, and in turn provided them with a high degree of autonomy in their affairs, allowing to secure Deseret's borders. In honor of this pact, 4 out of 5 states of Deseret were named after the local people: Kumeyaay, Waikura, Opata, and Kahita. The names given to both new and old settlements were taken from the Book of Mormon to return to the land the names that were used in ancient days when Jesus Christ appeared to the lost tribes in America. But while the church consolidated its rule over Deseret, it remained but a road corner of Mexico to the rest of the world. This ambiguity finally came to an end with the outbreak of the American Civil War. As a slave-owning government that rejected the authority of the federal government, Southern separatists looked up to Deseret as the first secession. Once hostilities finally broke out, the rebel government of the Confederacy claimed territory of Arizona for itself, technically making Deseret a neighbor of the Confederate States, to great concern of President Lincoln. The government in Richmond sent a proposal to Vermilion City, offering Deseret statehood in the Confederate States of America, or to recognize their independence in return for assisting the Confederates in invading Southern California, which shortly before the outbreak of the war held a successful vote to form a separate slave-owning state in the Union, and where the sentiments were strongly in favor of the South. Deseret was torn between factions advocating assisting the Confederacy and those proposing to remain neutral in the conflict. But Brigham Young saw in the war an opportunity to achieve his long-desired goal: international recognition. While the sentiments in Deseret were quite strongly anti-Union, it was easy to see the countless advantages the North held over the South, and the reluctance of foreign powers to recognize the Confederacy as a sovereign state. With this in mind, Brigham Young informed President Lincoln of the offer made by the Confederacy and made a counter-proposal: full recognition of Deseret by the United States in return for the Nauvoo Legion's services in defending California, pushing Confederates out of Arizona, and protecting the gold caravans across the Colorado. The proposal was warily accepted, and shortly after, the Nauvoo Legion moved across the Arizona territory towards Texas. Following a number of battles and a rendezvous with Union forces, the Saints continued their offensive into the South. In recognition of their efforts, in 1863, Deseret was recognized as a sovereign state by the United States. While President Lincoln hoped this would limit Mormonism, it had the reverse effect of legitimizing Mormonism as a new faith that secured a holy land for itself, and the rates of conversion to Mormonism increased drastically in the years to come. I gotta get a sip of water here. Oh man, my throat's been kind of messed up today. A lot of talking. After the end of active hostilities in 1865, and with the Nauvoo Legion still stationed by the Mexican border, Brigham Young offered his support to the Republican forces fighting a bitter resistance against the French-installed Mexican Empire. The Nauvoo Legion passed the Rio Grande and fought on the side of the Republicans until late 1866, when the evacuation of French forces meant the inevitable end of Maximilian I's reign. In 1867, Mexico City sent its thanks in recognition to Vermilion City, followed by the recognition of other New World states and European great powers. This resulted in a growing popularity and spread of Mormonism in the formerly belligerent Mexican population as well, with Mormonism quickly growing to be one of the major denominations of the entire continent. Expansion. With its borders and international standing secure, Deseret quickly grew in wealth through the industrious policies of the saints, the honeybee thing, while rapidly building up a maritime fleet. By 1870s, Deseret was the sole nation in the world who could claim to own not only a military and commercial, but also a missionary fleet. The Great White Fleet, quote unquote, of the Saints soon became a familiar sight across the Pacific Ocean's ports. The Saints' embrace of polygamy, teachings of familial ties being divine, and legends of Haggoth the shipbuilder, claimed to be a Pacific Islander from the Book of Mormon, quickly made Mormonism the most common faith in the Pacific Ocean, to the great concern of colonial powers. The missionary efforts resulted in a spread of English language and Deseret alphabet as lingua franca in the Pacific. And by the 1870s, the people of Samoa and Fiji have declared their allegiance to Vermilion City, to the shock of European powers who had designs for these territories. Attempts by the British, French, and Germans to lay claim to the island soon ground to a halt, as a mere word from Deseret could mean bloody rebellions across colonies in the Pacific. This assumption was finally proven true in 1893, when the Mormon-majority Hawaiian kingdom was overthrown by a short revolution which proclaimed the Republic of Hawaii. While the main figures of the coup were American citizens driven by their business interests, the hand of Vermilion City was clear in the sheer numbers of saints who revolted against the monarchy. While it was the conspirators' intent to have Hawaii annexed by the United States as a new territory, the government in Washington, D.C. is wary of having a Mormon-majority territory as part of the Union, ever mindful of curbing Deseret's influence in American affairs. For the time being, the fate of the Hawaiian Republic and of the Saints' influence remain uncertain. Nice little story, nice little description, little history right here. Pretty interesting stuff. I like the Great White Fleet part quite a bit. I think that's pretty interesting, having a missionary fleet. And I mean, it's kind of cool seeing the Nauvoo Legion actually do something. I'm pretty sure in real life they just kind of marched. They just marched around the Southwest, didn't do anything. I think they marched like from Utah to like they marched east from Utah, and then they went down into like Arizona, New Mexico, and then to California, and then back up to Utah or something. They didn't see any combat, and they didn't really do anything. Like, they didn't really build anything, I don't think. But they did kind of find a path out to California, so that was a little useful. But on the whole, it didn't do much. Anyway, yeah, this guy makes some really good maps. I might review some other ones of his, or maybe I'll do some map making stuff of my own in here and show off, talk about my maps. Who knows? Kind of a new thing here. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know. Bye.